Hello and welcome back to the Drop Back NFL show on Brit Ballin. I'm Sam Lewis and joined by Stan Wilson. How you doing, Stan?
Doing fantastic, thanks, Sam. The uni ball season is finally upon us.
Yeah, so you're going to make your debut this weekend.
Yeah, debut Sunday at the UCLan Sports Arena versus Aberystwyth, for those of you who are interested.
You got a score prediction?
Score
We're not
prediction.
allowed to do that to you.
I think it's quite hard, really, because obviously there's been a year off uni ball, and because of the high turnover rates of players, it's going to be completely new rosters. We've got no clue of their coaching situation or playing situation, so kind of
So
going into it a bit blind.
wisely avoiding giving them any bulletin board material.
Yeah, I just think it would be a bit. Maybe if we played them another time in the season, then I'd be able to give you a bit more of a score prediction, or later on the season for our future opponents. Then yeah, but just not got enough intel at the moment to go off really.
No. You feeling good about your team though?
Yeah, I feel like we're very well drilled. I play on offense predominantly. We've got very good offense. Makes life very easy for the quarterback. So I'm feeling we're going to be able to put up good points this season and frustrate defenses hopefully.
Well, that will be fun to see. So we do have a bit of NFL news to kick the show off with, and Roger Goodell has addressed the media for the first time, it seems. I don't know. I can't remember him having anything to say since the Super Bowl, really. But the first thing he came to talk about was about the Washington football team and how they're not releasing any of the information that the investigation found out. And all the NFL owners except Mark Davis seem to be low-key happy about this, which is a bit odd and suspicious, right?
Yes, it is very suspicious. They've got some sort of little secret boys club where they're kind of just defending each other and hiding up all sorts of atrocities.
Yeah, I mean, the reason they were given was that it's to protect the anonymity of the people involved, but the lawyer that represents 40 of the women that brought the case forwards and wanted the investigation said, no, they want the information out there. So I don't know why Goodell's just straight up lying other than to protect people.
I mean, as long as the victims agree to be named, then that's fine. So they're just
Or,
trying to cover
you
their own
could
backs,
just
really.
mark their names out. Like, we still need to
True.
know what was going on in that organization because it does sound like it was just horrific in there.
Exactly. Yeah, you could still redact their name from the document and still publicize the document. So it's very, very unpleasant business that should really be dealt with, but isn't.
Yeah, and you can sort of see why Mark Davis is annoyed. Like, this is not to protect John Gruden anyway. Like, he deserved to lose his job, absolutely. But I'm not entirely sure how the Raiders are the only organization that have caught any stray fire from this when it should be the Washington football team.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The fact that Dan Snyder's still involved there is just bad, quite frankly. Like, we've heard nasty stuff from that organization in the past, and it's sort of just been brushed under the rug for now. And now it's emerging again. And surely something has to be done now.
Yeah, it does look like there's going to be a congressional hearing. So I'm guessing from that investigation, some information is going to come out, but it does seem like the NFL is really dragging their feet on this. And with a very clear intention of protecting the owners.
Yeah, and whilst you would want to blame him, you can't really blame Roger Goodell too much of this because he's literally just a spokesperson and a lawyer for those owners. So direct your anger at the owners rather than Goodell himself, because
he's technically employed by them, isn't he?
Yeah, he is employed by them. He is the messenger. Don't shoot him.
Don't shoot him. Well, can we have a little bit more to say to Roger Goodell about how he's dealt with the whole Deshaun Watson incidents and how he's basically saying, oh, yeah, we can't put him on the commission exempt list because we don't have enough information, which, well, technically is true. There isn't really a whole lot of precedent for it. They absolutely could because it's pretty vague what they can put people on the exempt list for.
Yeah. I mean, he absolutely could put him on the exempt list. Like, it's not like that's a legal consequence and he's being arrested. It's just he's being removed from football until further information comes forward, which I think would be relevant here considering the allegations that have been made towards him. If they're found untrue, then fair enough. But if they are found true, then it would have been a shame to let him just walk free and play football as if nothing had happened, because obviously if these allegations are true, then he's not upholding the values of the NFL very well.
No, absolutely. And just puts all these teams in like weird situations. Like, we keep hearing rumors ahead of next Tuesday that the Dolphins are probably going to make a play for him. The Panthers have declared themselves out, but the Dolphin rumors will not go away. And the exempt list would just mean like he gets it's essentially paid leave until they get to the bottom of it, which seems like the best case scenario right now. If he is innocent, it doesn't cost him any money. And like you said, if he's guilty, then he wasn't playing in the NFL throughout this whole process.
Yeah, I think it'd be the best solution, to be honest with you.
All right. So other than that, the Deshaun Watson trade, because we're going to hear rumors about that up until the deadline. Are there any other, like next Tuesday, NFL deadline is closed, and we would usually probably talk about this on the podcast, but seeing as that comes out on Tuesday, would be a bit of a bad call on our part to do it that close to the deadline. So over the next half week, exactly, over the next half week, who could you see probably moving teams? Like we've already seen the first one today with Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that trade personally. We're not reuniting him and Alvin Kamara. Just love to see it. Alex Voice Joyce, our writer, will be very happy to see it as well. But in terms of trades that still could happen, I'd love for Xavier Howard to move teams, and I'd love for Allen Robinson to move teams as well.
Have you got destinations for those two?
Howard and the Chiefs could be a potential link up that would be massive for both parties, because Howard would find himself on a Super Bowl caliber team that just needs a defense, essentially.
Is he good enough to be the entire defense on his own? See, I think they should also go for Melvin Ingram, get a little bit of a pass rush, because he's sort of dropped down the pecking order in Pittsburgh. So if you bring in Xavier Howard and Melvin Ingram, maybe it papers over some cracks. I mean, I'm not confident given how bad that defense has been.
You'd need someone to replace Sorensen as well. Even if it's just a set of quick legs to cover that deep third.
Well, Thornhill's sort of come in a bit. I think he was injured to start the season, but over the last 2 games, he's predominantly taken that safety role. And Sorensen's sort of come on as that sort of nickel backer a little bit more, which is more suited for his play speed now.
Yeah, he's been holding back that defense for a little while now. Well, just this season especially. Like we've seen the expressions Tyrann Mathieu's been pulling on field after some of his blunders. Yeah.
Well, that exactly. Allen Robinson. Like, he's also not played great this season. He hasn't like he's never been a huge separator, but there's just defenders draped all over him at the moment.
He's also a victim of a bad situation, which he has always been. I'm unsure of it on a destination for him, though, at the moment. What would you suggest?
Well, I got a receiver. I think the Saints desperately need a receiver. Like, we don't know when Michael Thomas is going to come back. It was week 7 was the original. We're now hearing from Rappaport that maybe not until week 9. Then he's missed most of the season. You don't know how fresh he's going to be. There was all that drama in the offseason anyway. Because it was Mike Thomas that got like surgery, arguably, without telling the Saints. It was something weird going on there.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to say that because I don't know, but that does sound like something Mike Thomas would do.
Yeah, but then I think Odell could be an option for them. He gives them a little bit more speed on that outside. I mean, they've got speed, but they don't have speed and ability in one player, unfortunately. Yeah. And that receiving core is just flat out bad.
That'd be a really good trade for both teams because we've seen Donovan Peoples-Jones emerge more as well. So if next season the Browns roll with Landry and Peoples-Jones, that's not a bad receiving core by any means.
Yeah, the issue I have with Odell a little bit is, would the Saints want to take on that big salary that he has for like very limited production over this season?
Yeah, but Loomis would somehow convert into 50p.
Yeah, he probably would. He probably would manage to do that. Another trade I think could happen. I mean, Brandon Cooks is basically begging to get out of Houston per his Twitter feed.
Back to the Saints?
Maybe back to the Saints. I'd like to put him on the Chargers.
A team he hasn't been on yet.
A team he hasn't been on yet. So we need to get a new first-round pick to a new team. He'll be a 1,000-yard receiver. But we've talked about how their early down play hasn't been sort of the most effective. And I think it's because teams are able to sort of squeeze on them a little bit. Like Justin Herbert, for as good as he is, like his average air depth of target is actually quite low in the league. It's because they don't really have a deep threat. Like their best deep threat is Guyton, who isn't really a reliable target. So you get Cooks in, who is a proven field stretcher, and then you allow Keenan Allen and Mike Williams to operate underneath. Like, going to Mike Williams on 50-50 balls down the sideline is working, but like make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, no, that would be true. It would mean that the defense would be less compact. It would stretch the field for them more, as you said. And yeah, it would buy Justin Herbert more time and create him bigger windows to throw into rather than having all 11 defenders within about 25 yards. You could stretch the field, create more gaps.
Yeah, they are still finding space on somehow like 3rd and 13 every time. But
well, that's what happens when you have Keenan Allen, though, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe don't make yourself have to be in 3rd and 13.
Yeah, true. So don't run the ball on first down if you can't.
Exactly. I got a couple more, but you want to jump in with any?
Let me just check my notes quickly.
All right, while you're checking that, I think Marlon Mack could be a potential option for Baltimore.
That's a shout.
Need a proven running game. Probably can get in for a 5th or a 6th, I reckon, because they've got Jonathan Taylor and Indy, so don't have a whole lot of need for Marlon Mack. And he's a proven guy. I mean, I know he's coming off that Achilles injury, but I have more faith in Marlon Mack than any of the 30-plus-year-old Devonta Freeman, Latavius Murray, and Le'Veon Bell they've got there.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Just another one I found from my notes. Marcus May, Buccaneers.
Where is Marcus May at the moment?
New York Jets. He's their defensive captain.
I thought they released him. Wait, who am I thinking? I figured Brian Poole. Marcus May's a safety. Yeah, that. Wait, Marcus May's a safety, isn't he?
Yeah.
They've got Winfield and who's their other safety? The Bucks.
Jamel Dean, isn't it?
No, he's a corner. Oh, that's going to annoy me. Buccaneers depth chart. We should know this, Dan. This is poor from us.
Whitehead?
Yes. Is it Whitehead? Yeah, it's Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead. You're absolutely right.
Jordan Whitehead. I just think adding Marcus May into that mix would help that secondary out so much.
Yeah. See, I've got a Buccaneers trade, I think, as well, but I'm going to go with the corner. I think. Yeah. I mean, the Denver Broncos have sort of a huge surplus of corners that are really good. So I think maybe Kyle Fuller could be an option for them. I mean, basically any of them, but I think Fuller is one of the older ones that they would be more willing probably to part with.
What about Darby's at the Broncos, isn't he?
Ronald Darby. I think, was he at Washington last year? And he's at the Broncos.
I think he went to the Broncos. He's a better man corner, so maybe he'd fit their style better.
Maybe that is good. I mean, either of them would be an improvement over just injured bodies right now, or 40-year-old Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Anyone else you got there?
One moment.
Oh,
I did do my preparation.
I mean, surely the Panthers are going to make another trade, seeing as though that's all they've seemed to have done this season. They lost their left tackle, who was Cam Irving. Who, when you're starting Cam Irving, that's not a good sign. But then when you're having to play someone that was originally behind him, that's a real bad look. And we've seen this offensive line get exposed in the last few games since starting 3-0. So what about a move for Andre Dillard from the Philadelphia Eagles, who has improved this season? He actually looks like he could play in the league, unlike the first couple of years when he was playing.
Fair play. That could make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, the Eagles are clearly in selling mode now after what happened to Zach Ertz. Mailata's definitely got that left tackle job locked down. Like, he was dominant in the preseason in that competition, and Dillard getting injured didn't really help win him any favors there.
So the deal's been sealed somewhat.
Yeah, I think as soon as Lane Johnson is back from his break now, so I'm imagining what happens is Johnson plays back right tackle, Mailata slides back over to the left, and then Dillard's sitting there on the bench looking for a starting role somewhere.
Yeah. Another guy who could get moved to the Chiefs, actually, for D-line help, Trey Flowers from the Lions.
Yeah, I forgot that Trey Flowers was on the Lions.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of ways they can help themselves, because it is a massive shame to see so much talent just being held back just by just a crappy defense.
Yeah, that is true, and they absolutely need edge help. I think it was a bit fool's gold from what we saw in Trey Flowers that 1 year in New England on his contract year, but he's still a solid enough player that he would be helping that Chiefs team out. And it's like we said on the podcast, was it this week's when we were saying that why are you playing your best D tackle, Chris Jones, on the edge? It just kills your whole team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that was this week on the pod.
Yeah, well, I think that's all of my trade. I mean, we'll probably see none of those and some really outfield stuff happen, but hopefully we've covered at least one that gets picked there.
I hope so. I really do. I mean, one of those players has got to go, surely.
Yeah. All right. So if you could pick one of those, you'd be like, right, I'm going to bet on him to move.
So a player to move. I think that's really tough. That's a very tough ask.
Oh, we should have just said Tua for when
Tua,
for
Tua
when
leaving.
yeah. Did you see his quote? It was being like, "I don't not feel wanted." That's so sad.
I think I'll go with Brandon Cooks. He has to be moved.
Yeah, like when you basically come out saying this is bullshit. Why am I still here? Or why
And
are you
you're
getting rid of
notorious for
Mark
being
Ingram?
traded every other season anyway.
Yeah, do you reckon he is like no? Because there've been people who've gone for multiple firsts, but he's gone for like 3 first-round picks, hasn't he? It is back to back over a couple of years.
Do you reckon he's just a really good player, just a bad locker room guy, and that's why he keeps getting traded?
I don't think he's a bad locker room guy. I think he's arguably one of the better deep threats in the league. But
You could be both.
it could be both. I mean, we never heard of any issues there. But I mean, when someone comes and offers you a first-round pick to Brandon Cooks, you don't look at him and go, "Oh, I kind of would rather have Cooks than the first." So I think it's that. I think he feels a need that like desperate teams want, and a good team like would rather have the first.
He's a luxury, isn't he?
I think so. I think yeah. Way to summarize what I was rambling on about there. I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Cheers.
All right, let's move on to Thursday night football. The first good Thursday night football of the season, it seems, after week one. Your undefeated Arizona Cardinals are hosting the Green Bay Packers, who are 6-1 after a horrid first week of the season. They are coming to Arizona without their top two receiving targets in Devonta Adams, who's just been ruled out just now, and Alan Lazard, who was a close contact, which means he wasn't vaccinated.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins has just been ruled in for this game after he was possibly injured. But so he's in. JJ Watt, unfortunately, is out for the rest of the year. But nonetheless, Cardinals are going to win this. With no Devontae Adams, I think and no Adam Lazard, they're going to really struggle.
Yeah,
I would back the Cardinals to win this anyway.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's hard to pick against an undefeated team, and I think I need to stop picking on their secondary because at some point you've just got to disregard your priors about the players on the pitch and just focus on how well they're actually playing on that back end.
Jalen Thompson and Buda Baker are like one of the best safety duos in the league now. Marco Wilson,
I think it's them and the Bengals
is just incredible. And then Byron Murphy he stepped up to be on anyone else's expectations. Coming from playing solely as a slot corner in college, solely as a slot corner for us last year, and now moving to be our number one cornerback. The amount of pass breakups he's had this season it's incredible.
It really is. JJ Watt is a huge loss though, because it's such an aggressive run defense that you get your tackles for loss, which sort of is a little bit misleading. Because other than the Tennessee Titans game, you have given up some like sort of gashes on the ground. Like I think back to that Minnesota Vikings team that run a similar scheme. Well, to the whole team, but to the whole league, but also the Green Bay Packers that like to do with Aaron Jones. I mean, missing JJ Watt, who's basically the only consistent run defender on that team.
I mean,
we've got
Zach Allen back this week, which is a plus. But
he's no JJ Watt, is he?
Yeah. No, JJ Watt as a run defender this year, he's been lights out. People have maybe underestimated the impact he's had because he hasn't been showing up on the stat sheet in terms of sacks and tackles for loss, QB pressures and all that. But inside the tackles and against the run game, he's been lights out.
Yeah, he just knows what he's doing as a run game. Like, that's not the type of thing you lose with age. He may lose a step on speed off the edge or something like that, but he's not any weaker. He's still strong as hell, and he plays the game so well.
Yeah, no, it is going to be a big loss for sure.
Yeah, so it will be interesting because it's almost strength versus weakness. Like, for the Packers to win, they're going to have to sort of keep it close, which is saying a lot because they're missing a lot of parts on the secondary and how explosive the Cardinals' offense have been. But they need to make sure the running game continues to be a factor because if it's close, I do worry about you trying to stop AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones.
You've got to remember as well how fast our linebacking core as well is, and the fact we've already faced that style or a strong style of that offense in the form of the Vikings. So we already know where we messed up last time.
Absolutely ruined by the Vikings.
We got ruined, but who won in the end?
I mean, you want to just against the Vikings. That really, just about beat the Vikings. You are PFF has you, which pinch of salt and all that, but has you like the third or the fourth worst run defense in the league, and that's including the fact that you did a great job against Derrick Henry week 1.
Right. I think this stat is very much twisted and manipulated because not many teams run on us. So when they do, it's because it's a close game, and it was probably if you take away the Vikings game, I think that figure's going to be much lower because we get ahead early. Teams don't run on us; they pass the ball. So the sample size for that stat is a lot smaller than it's going to be for everyone else.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Chris. Hey, Chris, that the Cardinals probably will win, but they aren't playing the Panthers, so I'm not sure about that one. So it's Green Bay Packers, Chris.
But I would agree with you. We would be the Panthers too.
Oh, they'd absolutely dick the Panthers. It is interesting though because they still don't have Jair Alexander, so you'll probably be able to do all your passing time. Is it and you've got Cliff Kingsbury back. Is that a plus? Is that a negative? What do we think there?
I mean, last week we struggled to get up against the Texans in the first half.
Yeah, that's also true.
The week before without Cliff, we did better.
Was Cliff calling plays last week?
No.
Okay, so he's missed 2 weeks.
No, he was calling plays last week, but I'm saying the week he wasn't here.
There, you came out and absolutely ruined the.
I don't know how plays were being called because apparently Colt McCoy was involved. The quarterback's coach was involved.
Is Colt McCoy your backup, or is he a staff
he's
member?
Backup. He's our backup.
Kind of makes sense.
Because the OC, it was either the OC and Cliff, or Cliff and the QB coach were both out or something. So I don't know how
it was the QB coach that was out as well. But yeah, I think Kyler was involved somehow in the play calling.
Oh,
which makes sense because he basically runs his own offense anyway.
Yeah, he does. He does whatever the hell he wants, and I love it.
Yeah, so it may as well just call run around on the 3. Ready?
Yeah, you can laugh and joke all you want, but who's 7-0 here?
Yes, I suppose that is the case. You going to 8-0, you reckon?
Yeah.
Do you cover the 6.5 point spread?
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, though, both these teams sort of have that vibe that they're going to you want to see these teams make a last possession sort of drive because they're both sort of fun offenses.
We're going to see them again in the playoffs probably, but yeah, I think
the injuries have really sunk the Packers for this matchup a little bit.
Yeah, and that's something that DeAndre Hopkins back and him not having to face Jair Alexander is a massive gain. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yeah, pretty much. It's not fair, but I mean, at this point of the season, it is almost injuries and health to some extent that decide these matchups when both teams are pretty close to each other. I mean, the Packers have at least shaken off that they were better than what we saw week 1.
I mean, they always have a bit of a shocker week 1, don't they?
Do they?
I'm thinking of someone else.
Oh, I've just got a message from Matt saying, I don't know if I remember if I told you, but he can't do the live stream tonight. So,
thank God for that. I was so worried, Matt.
It's good. It's a good heads up there. I wasn't sure. Yeah, Cardinals to win, go to 8-0, but I don't think that takes any shine on how good the Packers are going to be.
I agree. Both very good teams. Cardinals just better.
Unfortunate, because this could be one of those games that decides playoff seeding, and a playoff game, an NFC Championship game in Arizona is a hell of a lot different advantage than one in Green Bay in January.
Oh yeah, they get way more of an advantage at home if they're in Green Bay. Cardinals fan base is there, but it's nowhere near as fierce.
Yeah, but also they're used to playing in bloody snow and all that nonsense. Kyler's probably going to get underneath the level of the snow they have in Green Bay. Yeah, he's running around ball above the snow levels.
The poor man's going to get frostbite.
Oh, Diddums.
Right.
Second game of the week, Titans at Colts, both of which sort of have turned their season around a little bit. They both started off really slowly. Titans, well, we know how they play. Pound the ball to Derrick Henry, and then they've now -1. Yeah, Colts are the favourites. I mean, to be fair, technically the best deep passing team in the league. Not sure how that happened, but they are against the Titans.
That's probably because they don't deep pass much, but when they do it really well.
Yeah, that's probably how. You're absolutely right. But let me just have this. Carson Wentz is balling out, Stan. He's turned it around.
Who does Carson Wentz play for again?
The
Colts.
Indianapolis Colts.
What, you got to let him go, Slow. I'm very sorry. You got to let him
I'm
go.
so happy for him. I could be happy for the guy.
No, you got to hate him as soon as he leaves you.
Hey, that's not how this works. You don't have to have so much hatred in your heart. Just like be happy for people.
Okay, I'll do my best from now on.
All right. So Titans rushing offense against the Colts, one of the better rushing defenses in the league, should be a good matchup. Like we saw the Chiefs slow down Derrick Henry a little bit last week, but that was reliant on putting literally everyone in the box, and then you leave AJ Brown and Julio Jones one-on-one all game against a single high safety.
That's how they're going to win.
That's how the Titans are going to win.
Yeah. I don't see how the Titans don't win this, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, the Colts O-line's been a little bit banged up. Do you see Harold Landry continuing his hot streak of bursting on out of nowhere to be a really good pass rusher?
Yeah, like where's he come from? He's always been there. He's sort of just like a Derek Barnett guy, isn't he? He's just sort of just been there for ages, not really doing much, and now boom, Harold Landry's good.
Yeah, that is basically summing up. Like, how long has he been in the league? Like 4 years now. It must be around that, because he was a first or second round pick as well.
He must be if he's For as long as I've been in like watching the NFL, he's always been on the Titans, but he's also still young somehow.
Oh, he's definitely drafted by the Titans. I remember him. He's always like that up and comer guy. Yeah, second round pick in 2018. It's only 2018. So yeah, 4 years ago.
Not bad.
So yeah. And yeah, so he's had 26.5 sacks throughout his career. He actually had a 9-sack season in 2019.
Fair play.
Don't know how the hell that hasn't come up more. This is a good question. Is Derrick Henry the best running back ever? And let's talk purely as a runner, because let's disregard the receiving aspect of the game. That changes slightly. Is Derrick Henry the best pure runner ever?
The thing that I love about watching Derrick Henry is just, for a man his size, he shouldn't be able to move that fast. He shouldn't be that agile.
Yeah.
Like, he's recorded the fastest run of the NFL season, whilst also probably being the biggest and heaviest back there is.
I mean, he's definitely the biggest and heaviest back. But yeah, but that includes receivers. He's the fastest ball carrier this season.
That's ludicrous, considering he plays in the league with guys like Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf. He tried out for the USA Olympic sprinting team.
Didn't make it though. Like, anyone can try out.
But still,
yeah.
to get that far in the process, I mean, you got to at least be able to run.
Yeah, and it's the fact that we haven't seen any sort of breakdown from him like that. Like, he's had unbelievable amount of usage, and he still gets stronger every single game as it gets later in the game. And you can see linebackers go, I'm in the fourth quarter, I don't want to tackle him anymore. It hurts so much, and he just seems to get stronger. Like, players don't do that.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. If I was in the NFL, I'd give him a drugs test every single game, because he's got to be on something, surely.
I mean, I think he's just big, but yeah, he's also a freak. I mean, he was 2,000 yards last year. CJ2K had a 2,000, but he's going to go over 2,000 this year. Like, he's on track to go over 2,000, not including the 17th game.
Yeah, he's just Derrick Henry. It's just what he does. I would disregard stats in this sort of conversation anyway, because of how reliant running backs are on their offensive line for success.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is true. But then you look at that's a decent stat, to be fair, because that's the same offensive line throughout, and that just shows how much
play calling
that offensive unit like wear down the opposition. I mean, yes, the line as well, but the fact that he is able to get basically stronger as the game goes on, because you're watch the first quarter of the game, it's just not happening, but you've got to admire their sort of persistence to stick with it, because they know there'll be a point where the levee breaks and it'll hit off a 60-yard touchdown. Like, it just happens every single game.
Yeah. Like, the amount of strength and conditioning he must do must be absolutely ridiculous.
Doing them Jerry Rice hills. No, Jerry Rice. Who was the other one? It was Walter Payton that used to sprint up that hill on the... It seems like the NFL film sort of thing.
I can't say I've seen that.
Have you not? There was like a Walter Payton hill in Chicago.
Oh no, I've seen Derek. I saw him do that this offseason actually.
Oh, did he do Walter Payton's hill?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that seems like
there
a
was
good
some big
commercial.
running back.
Yeah, well, I mean, there aren't that many guys that you can confuse with Derrick Henry. To be fair,
True.
yeah, I think the issue is we can't say best ever without having like because I've never watched bloody Walter Payton or OJ Simpson or any of those guys like actual games. He's the best running back pure runner I have ever seen.
Yeah, because you can't compare him like to the guys of the past as well, like your Emmett Smiths,
Barry
like
Sanders,
Sanders,
even LT. But then
yeah.
again, how much of LT's awesomeness was also his receiving ability, like being incredible out in space. Adrian Peterson for a little while as well.
Adrian Peterson was phenomenal.
Yeah, his truck was just filthy.
His one cut ability too, and his just elusiveness was unparalleled. I think his elusiveness is higher than Derrick Henry's 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Derrick Henry isn't incredibly elusive. Like, he doesn't have great short area quickness. He's basically trying to tackle a runaway train. And when you're being blocked and you can only get an arm on him, you're not bringing him down. He doesn't go down on arm tackles.
It is ridiculous. Like, he's a freak of nature.
And they're going to win tonight?
Yeah. The term generational athlete goes around every single year in the draft at least 5 times, but Derrick Henry is truly a generational talent.
Also, there was a year when Dion Lewis was getting more carries than him for the Tennessee Titans. That was the thing that happened.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Can the Titans, like, their defense, does that not worry you a little bit in a matchup with the Colts team that's actually sort of playing all right? Or do you think their win over the 49ers is a bit because the 49ers aren't great?
I think the 49ers aren't great, don't get me wrong. I'm not a massive fan of them at all this season. But coming off their recent performances, the Titans are hot. They should win this, really. Like, even if it's just because of their momentum they've got going with themselves. They're in a groove. Yeah. They're in a rhythm. The Colts, you can't really see the same for. I'd say the Titans are going to... It could end up as a shootout, but... Yeah, Titans all the way here.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know how well the Titans are built for a shootout. Like, having a bad defense and an offense is built off your running game. But I suppose if it's always within one score, you can sort of lengthen drives. And it doesn't matter you're running the ball. See if they fall behind when they're really in trouble. I don't know if this Colts team is the sort of team to jump out on the lead on someone.
Yeah.
It just doesn't strike me who they are.
I'd like to see them open up the play action game as well, but a lot more tonight with Brown and Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, the Colts have been sort of all right, but nothing special defensively.
Exactly.
It'd be nice to continue that and be like, oh, this isn't just when we played a really bad Chiefs team. Like, this is going to be they're both healthy now. This is our offense is dangerous, and we can beat you anywhere that we want.
Yeah, it would be a big statement win for the Colts. This game matters way more to the Colts than it does for the Titans.
Oh, absolutely. I think if the Titans win, they'll probably have a 2-game cushion, having played like the 2 hardest games that they're going to play all year. And worst case scenario can only split with the Colts. So it basically should put them in the driving seat for the AFC South.
Yeah, it should.
Which we thought they'd win by default, but the Colts have, to be fair, clawed their way back into some sort of conversation.
Somehow.
Yeah, so I mean, if we both think the Titans are going to win, that definitely means they'll cover. I'm not sure how the Colts are favourites, to be honest, given that the Titans did just beat the Bills and the Chiefs. That seems like a gimme right there.
Not clear.
All right.
Is that the consensus, or was that just
that's the yeah.
Wow.
All right, so the part we have every Thursday, sneaky fantasy football tips. And I mean, I'm going to kick this off just because I was holding off talking about it in one of the matchups. But you've got to take MVS or Randall Cobb. If they're he's going to have, I get that Aaron Jones is going to have about probably 30 touches in this game, but there's no way you're not starting Aaron Jones ever anyway. One of MVS or Randall Cobb is going to get at least 10 targets.
Yep.
Just by pure volume, I think those MVS, I'd say, is the ceiling. Cobb is the floor. out of those two picks. So it
I
depends
think
on what sort of player you are.
MVS and PPR is going to go off this week.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because he's going to get the targets. He's going to get the receptions.
Yeah, but could it be a big Bob Tunyon game, or do we not trust that anymore?
It's not 2020 anymore, Sam.
It's gone. It was a magical season.
Exactly. My sneaky fancy football tip, maybe not so sneaky, maybe you've already picked them up off the waiver wire this week. The Bengals defense.
Nice.
I picked them off the waiver wire this week. Playing against the New York Jets, yep.
You need it for your sneaky fancy football picks because
I'm rubbish.
You're not so hot.
I'm 2-5. Managed to claw back a win last week.
Congratulations. Make that late season push.
I am picked to win this week, though.
Oh, congratulations. Those
I'm
predictions are never right.
To Team Dan Holmes.
Okay. Oh, I'm playing you next week. Excellent. Looking forward to that. I mean, let's talk, because there's always times where quarterbacks on their bias is like the worst part of the season now. I think if Kirk Cousins is available, if you're in a smaller league, like he's been pretty good and he's usually sort of knocking about because he's Kirk Cousins. So people are like, oh, I don't really want him on my fantasy team. But he's playing a Dallas Cowboys team that, if they'll get a few turnovers, also give up a lot of yardage and points.
Or if you're in our fantasy football league, you can try and trade for either Matt Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, because I've got both of them.
Is this you just hoping someone in our fantasy football league is listening right now and wants to make a trade?
Well, no, at least one of them is.
Me? You want me to? I've got Dak. I'm good. Don't worry about it.
What about when Daxon's bye week?
He's had his bye week. It was last week.
Oh, yeah, there you go
then. I mean, the other guys, I mean, it's weird because the Eagles haven't run the ball, but they're also playing the Lions this week. So if you can get Boston Scott or Kenny Gainwell,
You've got Kenny Gainwell. Someone picked up Kenny Gainwell.
I think Matt picked up Kenny Gainwell. I don't know, but I think Boston Scott may be the first down kind of guy. I think one of those guys could be good. But then again, if they weren't utilizing Miles Sanders, are they going to utilize one of those two guys? So
yeah,
if you want a deep dive guy, I got Khalif Raymond, Lions wide receiver, who's had 6 catches in each of his last 2 games.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, and he's playing that Eagles team that is just bad defensively. Like they play such soft zone coverage because they're so terrified of being beaten deep. That like last week, Derek Carr just sort of tiptoed his way down the field the entire way. He only didn't complete 3 passes last week. And they don't have a great O-line. The Eagles weren't able to get continuous pressure. So I feel Goff is probably going to... Like, we know that when he's not pressured, he's usually sort of all right.
Yeah.
If Khalif Raymond's his guy and you're in a PPR league, absolutely go pick him up.
Yeah. My next guy is former Arizona Cardinal, David Johnson.
Why do you hate yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you ever play him?
Because he's now running back 1 and he's been averaging about 5 to 6 points a week in normal scoring as a running back 2. So I think he's just a logical pick now.
Somehow you're going to get burned by Philip Lindsay and it'll be horrific.
But the thing is, Philip Lindsay had a good first 2 weeks and then he just sort of just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, because it's a Houston Texans organization that does nothing well.
Yeah, I back David Johnson here for the majority of the carries, especially against the Rams.
Yeah. It's a tough front to run against, though. And they could be. But I mean, to be honest, he might get a bit more opportunity in the passing game if they fall behind early. So, yeah, it might be worthwhile pick up there. This is a question I've have there. I think if you have the option to sit Lockett in favor of someone decent, then you do right now, because Geno Smith just isn't getting it done in the passing game. It's just not happening. He's not proven to be good enough. Lockett isn't getting enough looks. He only had 2 catches against the Saints, like 1 or 2 the week before that as well. I've got Lockett in my team, and I'm probably going to bench him until Russell Wilson comes back. If you've got anyone else, who
would be the candidate to replace Lockett? That would make it interesting.
So I'm playing Chuba Hubbard instead of Lockett this week.
Fair.
Running back, playing the Atlanta Falcons. Unfortunately, if CMC comes back the week after, I'm in a little bit of trouble. Like, I'm at the point now where I'd probably play Calvin Ridley, TJ Hockenson. I've got Tony Pollard, who would probably start ahead of Lockett right now.
Yeah.
Any of those guys that you know are going to get, because you can't guarantee that Lockett's going to get 20 yards.
That's very true.
Like that Seahawks offense is bad right now. Like the only thing they did on last Monday Night Football was one ball where DK Metcalf did DK Metcalf things.
I've got a little start or sit for you here.
All right.
Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz?
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I've gone for that. I've gone for that as well, just because he's going to get more volume than I think Ertz will.
I think volume. I think Hurts likes to throw tight ends, and again, he is playing that Lions defense this week. It just hasn't been good.
Mm-hmm.
Like no part of the Lions has been good, but the fact that secondary has been absolutely ransackled with injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Stan, to say hi to Blake.
Hello, Blake.
It's Chris's baby.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't context there.
No, it's fine. You said hi. We'll make a day now. Congratulations. Have you got any more guys? Any start or sits? Anything? I could help you this week. Who are you playing? Oh, Dan Holmes, you said.
Yeah.
Is that just genuinely you just want advice right there?
Oh yeah,
you weren't sure between the two. That was.
I don't need there is no one else on my bench I can play really because I've got Rodgers. I've benched Rodgers for Stafford this week because Stafford's playing the Texans. Devontae Adams is injured or COVID or whatever it is. Marquise Brown's on a bye week. Zach Ertz is Zach Ertz. I benched the Cardinals defense because we're playing the Packers.
That makes
Chris
sense.
Carson's on the IR.
Yeah,
so
you're in real trouble right now. I mean, Myles Gaskin might be worth a pickup. To be fair, like he gets consistent volume, and they use him a little bit in the past game as well. So even when they're chasing the game at the end, like he's definitely a sort of garbage time kind of player.
To be fair, he might be a good pickup before they play the Texans in Week 9.
Give it a go. If you beat me with Myles Gaskin, I'm going to be absolutely livid, and this section gets cancelled forever. Just to let you know.
It's my first time doing this section. It'll be my last time doing it too.
Yeah, you get booted off every call before we get to the fantasy bit. All right, I think that does bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out all of our socials going along the bottom of the screen now. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Dropback, thedropback.com for articles and more. We got Dylan joining us now, a new writer. So all of his articles will be up there as well. We're glad to have him on board. Thanks again for Britballing for giving us this platform. I've been Sam. I've been joined by Stan. Until next time, goodbye.